Now that CAT notification is out for 2024 and you know that your CAT exam is going to happen on 24th of November 2024, I think it is a good idea to take a look into what CAT exam is. In this short video, we will talk about the structure of CAT exam, we'll talk about the marking scheme and other features associated with it, and we'll also talk about the good score that you should be aiming for. Let's begin. CAT is conducted by Blackie Group of Institutions, BLACKI, that stands for Bangalore, Lucknow, Ahmedabad, Calcutta, Kozhikode and Indore, the IIMs. Every year CAT is conducted on last Sunday of November. This time it is 24th of November. Second week of January is the result that CAT authorities declare. Generally they quote that, but sometimes they declare the result earlier also. So don't be a stickler to this date. In fact, last year also they declared the result quite early. The form filling time is from August to mid-September, and that is exactly what happens. They give you around 1.5 months worth of time so that you can gather your documents if there is some discrepancy, and then you can fill these forms. This is how your CAT registration page will look like. Right now, CAT authorities for 2024 have not updated this page. So this is the page from the previous time. So I have hidden all the details related to 2023, but this will be the broad structure here. It will talk about the important dates that are going to be there, when the exam is going to get conducted, the form filling dates and so forth. And on the right hand side, there will be a scorecard download button and so on. And finally, the registration for non-IIM institutions. There can be a bit of change also, which we will see very soon the moment the CAT registration is open. CAT structure, you already are aware of it, but those of you who are not, a quick understanding of it. It's a 120-minute exam. Basically, it's a set of 3 exams, you can say, of 40 minutes each without any break in between. What are those 3 sections? These 3 sections are verbal aptitude and reading comprehension, VARC, QA, quantitative aptitude, and DILR, data interpretation and logical reasoning. Total number of questions are 66 in it, out of which maximum number of questions are in VARC section, which is 24, followed by QA, which is 22. Finally, it is DILR, in which there are 20 questions. Let's talk about VARC. VARC has 24 questions, and generally the section is divided into 2 parts. One is RC, the other is the verbal ability portion of it. RC means that they are going to give you a passage and they will ask you a couple of questions out of it, and you have to answer these questions. The content related to the RC comes from variety of sources. You can't really put a tab on sources and so forth. In fact, we have tried to cover up a couple of sources that from where the RCs were asked in the previous years. You can check that video on our channel. That's a separate video. Other than that, there is a verbal ability set of questions in which question types like para-jumbles, summary, odd one out, and para-completion come. CAT does not ask grammar and vocabulary directly. Of course, if you don't know grammar, you will not be able to understand the passage. And if you don't know vocabulary, you will certainly not be able to understand the passage. So these are essential skills, but not the skills that are directly tested in the CAT exam. The other one is DILR, in which there are 20 questions. Data interpretation, logical reasoning, that is the full form of it. The broad topics that are asked here are tables, graphs, pie charts, caselets, reasoning-based DI, quant-based DI, arrangements, grouping, roots and networks, games and tournaments, Venn diagrams, and so on. In fact, in last couple of years, we have seen the difficulty level in DILR rising. So it is always a good idea to practice 3 to 4 DILR sets every single day that are of CAT level. Which brings us to the last section, which is QA, quantitative aptitude, in which there are 22 questions and they are asked from a host of topics. Generally, if we talk about the division, you can say that one portion could be number and arithmetic, the other could be algebra, geometry, P&C, and probability. These are the various topics that are asked in it. Now, interesting thing is that around 70% of the exam is arithmetic and algebra. So these are those 2 topics that you should never ever think of ignoring. Let's go further. So what is this CAT format? If I have to summarize it, overall 66 questions, 120 minutes. The marking scheme is interesting. There are 3 marks that you get for every correct question. You lose 1 mark for every wrong answer, but the questions are of 2 types. One is called MCQ, which is multiple choice question, in which a question will be given and 4 options will be there, and you have to mark 1 option. The other type of questions are known as theta questions, in which there will be no option, but they will give you a little space in which you have to type your answer. The questions which are not the multiple choice questions, the theta questions, do not have a negative marking. So when you attempt them incorrectly, you do not lose any mark. Other than that, the interesting thing is that there is a fixed section order and time limit. So which section you are going to attempt first is not really dependent on you. It generally happens that VRC section will come first, followed by DILR, and finally the QA section will come up. Other than that, there is an on-screen calculator on it. I would recommend that you should not use it, which means your calculation should be quite strong. But if in case you want to use that, there is a facility available. And finally, what score should you get? What score you should target? Of course, you should target 99 percentile or more. What do I mean by 99 percentile? Percentile means what percent of people are ahead of you. So if there are 3.2 lakh test takers for CAT and you get a 99 percentile, that means you are in top 1% of the people. 1% of 3,20,000 is 3,200. Broadly, you can say that your rank is 3,200. And that is what we are aiming for, because top 10 institutions in the country will ask you to come for the PI only if you have this kind of score. Although the metrics vary depending upon what your profile is and so forth, about which we have discussed in detail in our other long video related to profile. You can check that also. But you should always aim high, and then you can land lower or maybe higher than that. So 99 percentile is something that you should definitely aim for. And the interesting part is 99 percentile comes at 50% or less score. So it is not about that you have to attempt the entire paper. I am talking about percentile, not percentage. So if you understand the structure of CAT and you prepare thoroughly, you strategize it properly, you will be able to easily get 99 percentile or more if you attempt 40% or 45% of the exam. In fact, this was the last year's thing. In 2023, around 40% of the score landed you in the space of 99 percentile. And what better you want out of that? That's all for MBA Blueprint in this case, and that was your CAT structure.